What happens when you take three of the internet's most controversial figures and throw them into a business venture targeting children and prioritize profit over product? You get Lunchly, a brand that went from launch to laughingstock in record time, proving that even 372 million combined subscribers can't save you from moldy cheese and terrible decisions. Today, we're breaking down how MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI managed to create one of the most spectacular business failures in recent YouTube history. And listen, this is more than a lunch kit gone wrong. This is about ego, greed, and what happens when influencers believe their own hype. But before that, it's your boy Prince. I would appreciate it if you guys could like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. Now, back to the video. It all started on September 16th, 2024, when MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI stood together to announce their collaborative food brand designed to dethrone Lunchables as the king of prepackaged kids' meals. On paper, it made sense. MrBeast had Feastables, his chocolate bar brand. Logan and KSI had Prime, the energy drink that kids were literally fighting over in grocery stores. Combine them with some processed meat and cheese, slap it in a box, and boom, instant empire. Lunchly was the healthier alternative to Lunchables. Less calories, less sugar, more electrolytes. The real cheese instead of cheese product. They positioned themselves as disruptors, taking on the corporate giants who had been feeding kids garbage for decades. Noble, right? Except there was one massive problem. None of them seemed to care about actually making a good product. This was about leveraging their audience, cashing in on their influence, and getting rich of kids who trusted them. And people saw right through it. But the thing is, this partnership shouldn't have surprised anyone. Each member of this unholy trinity came with baggage so heavy it could sink a cargo ship. And the fact that they thought combining their controversies would somehow cancel each other out, that's either genius or delusional. We have already made a video about Logan and his shady business practices over the years. So for a more in-depth video I would recommend watching that one. But here's a quick summary. Logan Paul's relationship with his audience has always been transactional. He films them, they watch, he gets rich, but in recent years, the transaction took a darker turn. He stopped just selling entertainment and started selling promises he had no intention of keeping. In 2021, Logan announced CryptoZoo, an NFT game that he pitched as a way for fans to make money while having fun. Players would buy egg NFTs, hatch them into animals, breed hybrids, and earn cryptocurrency in the process. Logan hyped it relentlessly, claiming he'd invest $1 million and assembled a massive team to make it happen. The game never materialized. Nearly 3,000 people bought eggs, waiting for the promised platform to launch. But it didn't. The NFTs tanked in value, and when YouTuber CoffeeZilla released an entire investigation exposing the whole thing as a rug pull, Logan's defense was laughable. He claimed he never sold the token, never made any money, and was as much as a victim as everyone else. A class action lawsuit followed in 2023. Fans accused him of fraud, breach of contract, and conspiracy. And in October 2025, a judge dismissed the case, ruling that Logan's promises were just exaggerated claims that no reasonable person should believe. The judge essentially said Logan overpromised and underdelivered, but legally speaking, that wasn't fraud. It was just business. Logan celebrated the dismissal like he'd been vindicated, completely ignoring that the ruling didn't say he was innocent, but it said his lies weren't illegal. There's a difference here. Now Prime, the energy drink he launched with KSI in 2022, Prime exploded overnight, generating $1 billion sales in 2 years. But that success came with consequences. Schools banned the drink after realizing it contained 200 milligrams of caffeine per can, nearly 6 Cokes or 2 Red Bulls. Kids were buying it, chugging it, and parents were finding out their 10-year-olds were wired like they'd done a line of espresso. Class action lawsuits piled up. One claimed Prime contained PFAS, the so-called forever chemicals, which are linked to cancer and immune system damages. Another alleged the caffeine content was actually higher than advertised, testing at 215 to 225 milligrams per can. Logan denied everything, saying the lawsuits were baseless and that Prime complied with all the FDA regulations. But the damage was done. By mid-2024, Prime sales had dropped 50% year over year. The retailers started pulling it from shelves. The hype had faded, and what was left was a product nobody wanted. Prime's bottling partner, Refresco, even sued the company for $68 million, claiming Prime backed out of their agreement after failing to meet projected sales. So when Logan announced Lunchly, a product explicitly targeting children, people weren't just skeptical, they were pissed. This was a man with a proven track record of exploiting his young audiences for profit, and now he wanted parents to trust him with their child's lunches. But wait, what's the deal with KSI? This man built his empire on energy, high octane reactions, loud opinions, and an unshakable belief that he's always right. But beneath all that noise, there's not much depth. And when you peel back the layers, what you find is someone who is really good at selling things, but not very good at delivering on them. So Prime was KSI's golden ticket. He and Logan marketed it as the ultimate hydration drink, the future of sports beverages, the drink that would replace Gatorade and Powerade. And for a while, it worked. The branding was slick, the exclusivity made it desirable. Kids begged their parents to buy it, and when stores ran out, people were reselling cans for hundreds of dollars. But just like with Logan, the lawsuits started rolling in. The caffeine controversy, the forever chemicals allegations, the breach of contract with suppliers, and through it all, KSI played defense, dismissing critics as haters and insisting that Prime was being unfairly targeted because of his and Logan's fame. When Lunchy launched, KSI took the same approach. He made a 20-minute video responding to criticism, accusing everyone who didn't like the product of jealousy. He positioned himself as a misunderstood entrepreneur, trying to give people better options. Anyone who disagreed was just part of the noise. The problem? KSI's entire defense relied on the idea that critics were wrong, and he was right. He never actually addressed the concerns. He never acknowledged that maybe, just maybe, launching a food product with a guy who had already been sued multiple times for misleading his audience wasn't a great look. He just doubled down, got louder, and hoped the volume would drown. And guess what? It didn't work. But this already toxic brewing mix was still missing one final ingredient. Yes, that MrBeast, the philanthropist, the guy who gives away millions of dollars in every video, the creator who's built an empire on being likable, generous, and above the drama. Except, by the time Lunchly launched, MrBeast's reputation was hanging by a thread. Former employees had come forward with allegations of toxic work environment, faked videos, and illegal lotteries. His co-host, Ava Chris Tyson, stepped away from the channel after grooming accusations surfaced. His Beast game shows on Amazon Prime was facing lawsuits from contestants who claimed they were subjected to unsafe conditions, including lack of food, bad medical care, and mistreatment on set. So when MrBeast announced Lunchly, people noticed what he didn't say. He didn't address the allegations against him. He didn't take responsibility for the controversies swirling around his brand. He just posted a chart comparing Lunchly's nutritional stats to Lunchables and acted like everything was fine. But in reality, nothing was fine. MrBeast's silence on his own issues while loudly defending a lunch kit made him look bad. And when you were partnering up with Logan Paul, a guy who scammed his fans out of millions, and KSI, a guy who sold caffeinated drinks to children, it's hard to claim the moral high ground. MrBeast had spent years cultivating an image of someone who cared, but Lunchley exposed that image as a facade. Because if he really cared about his audience, he wouldn't have launched a product with two of the most controversial figures on the internet. He would have done his due diligence. He would have ensured the product was actually good. Instead, he saw dollar signs and jumped in. Less than 24 hours after the announcement, the internet turned on them. Dan TDM, a veteran Minecraft YouTuber with over 28 million subscribers, fired the first shot. His tweet was short, blunt, and devastating. What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better. This tweet got over 50 million views, thousands of comments agreeing with him, and suddenly, Lunchley got a bad rap. Logan responded exactly how you'd expect, defensively and with zero self-awareness. He tried to flip the script, pointing out that Lunchables had been facing allegations of containing lead. But somehow people were upset when they created a better version. The problem, as we already said, Logan's own drink had faced scrutiny for its high caffeine content and being marketed to children. Calling out Lunchables for lead while selling energy drinks to children wasn't the flex he thought it was. Meanwhile, MrBeast, the diplomatic one, posted a measured response comparing Lunchly's nutritional stats to Lunchables. He emphasized the lower calorie count, the reduced sugars, and the higher quality ingredients. He framed it as giving people a better option at the same price point. But even that couldn't land, because MrBeast's response came at the worst possible time. So, when MrBeast jumped to defend Lunchley, but stayed silent on the serious accusations against him, people noticed that these weren't creators trying to make the world better. They were businessmen trying to get richer, and they were using children to do it. While the drama was escalating on social media, actual health experts started tearing apart Lunchley's claims of being a healthier alternative. Dr. Mike, a licensed doctor with millions of subscribers on YouTube, released a video debunking the marketing. Yes, Lunchley had slightly less sugar and fewer calories than Lunchables, but the differences were marginal at best. To meet recommended lunchtime calorie intake, a child would need to eat nearly 3 turkey stack M's, which was unhealthy. About the more electrolytes claim, nutritionists pointed out that the brand was essentially rebranding sodium as electrolytes, capitalizing on the health halo effect that makes electrolytes sound beneficial when in reality kids were just getting more salt. The thing is, Lunchley's website compared their products to Lunchables, using selective data. They highlighted the areas where they performed better, while conveniently leaving out sodium content and saturated fat levels, which were nearly identical between the two brands. In short, the Lunchley kits were still ultra-processed food, high in sodium, with a lot of artificial sweeteners. The only real difference was the branding and the price point. Same junk food with a different logo slapped on it. If the ethical concerns and health claims weren't enough to sink Lunchley, what happened next absolutely was. On October 19th, 2024, YouTuber Rosanna Pansimo posted a video that changed everything. Rosanna had her own history with MrBeast. She'd been calling him out for months after he allegedly edited her performance in one of his videos to make her look worse than she actually did. She'd become one of his loudest critics, and when Lunchley launched, she decided to test it herself. She bought the pizza and nachos kit, set up her camera, and got ready to do a simple taste comparison between Lunchley and Lunchables. But when she opened her first pizza kit, she found something no one expected. The cheese was covered in bright blue mold, thick, fuzzy, and absolutely disgusting. The video exploded, and suddenly it wasn't just her. People started checking their own Lunchley kits and posted videos about moldy cheese. Dozens of reports flooded social media. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere you looked. There was another opened Lunchley revealing the same disgusting reality. By October 25th, the FDA confirmed they received more than 10 complaints about Lunchley, including at least one report of illness potentially linked to the product. The agency announced they were reviewing the submissions and determining whether a public health advisory was necessary. You'd think at this point the trio would issue an apology, pull the affected products, and do some serious damage control. Instead, Logan Paul and KSI went on Paul's podcast Impulsive and laughed it off. Logan did eventually release a video, attempting to debunk the criticism. He claimed Lunchley was selling out in stores, production was being ramped up to meet demand, and the mold reports were overblown. He even said their headquarters received a bomb threat, which the FBI traced back to London, as if that somehow proved people were taking the hate too far. He called Rosanna Pansino an attention-hungry little cloud goblin. He positioned himself, KSI, and MrBeast as innovators trying to disrupt an industry, and ended the video by saying, "The ops are gonna have to try harder." It was arrogant, dismissive, and it only made people angrier. As of early 2026, Lunchley still technically exists, but it's a shell of what it was supposed to be. Sales have tanked, the brand's reputation is in ruins, and the three creators behind it have taken serious hits to their own credibility. MrBeast's feasible brand saw a noticeable decline in sales, with parents vowing to boycott anything associated with him. Logan Paul's Prime drink, Prime, once the hottest beverage drink on the market, faced renewed scrutiny, and KSI's attempts to pivot the conversation back to his music career fell flat, as people kept bringing up Lunchley in the comments. To be fair, the larger market didn't benefit either. Lunchables, the brand Lunchley was supposed to dethrone, saw its own sales drop by 12% in late 2024. Consumer Reports had found traces of lead in Lunchables earlier that year, and the entire prepackaged lunch category took a hit as parents started questioning what they were feeding their children. The only real winner, Rosanna Pansino. Her video exposing the moldy cheese became one of her most viewed pieces of content, cementing her role as one of MrBeast's most effective critics. And unlike the Lunchley trio, she came out of this looking like someone who cared about the truth. Turns out, you can have the biggest platform in the world, but if you're selling garbage and treating your audiences like idiots, they'll turn on you. MrBeast, Logan Paul, and KSI learned the hard way that success doesn't give you immunity. Your reputation is only as strong as your last decision. And when that decision involves moldy cheese and exploiting children for profit, people remember.